This tutorial will show you how to create the PSA settings of your organization in Assistance PSA. In the CRM menu, click on Settings. In the following screen, open the Assistance PSA menu and go to PSA Settings. Now click on the record displayed here. You can only set up one organization record for your organization. We will review the one already created. In the left-hand side menu, you will find the different sections of your settings. You can click on them or use the scrolling bar to navigate to them. The first section is related to Program. This functionality will allow you to group together multiple projects and to report on them. Here, you will establish their naming convention. Note that the program number prefix is determined by you and can be alphanumeric. As for its number, it will be generated automatically, and its sequence will start by default at 1. You can also, if required, define specific naming convention by business unit. Click the box, and in the top ribbon bar hit New BU Settings Programs. PSA will bring you to another screen where you will need to select a business unit and enter the program number prefix. Once again, the program number will be generated automatically, and by default the sequence will start at 1. There is only one business unit in your organization. Leave the fields blank and close the window to go back to the previous screen. You will not use Program in the Fundamentals course. Leave these fields blank as well and click the small triangle in order to close the section. In the next section, you will define the settings of your projects. First, the naming convention. As with programs, the project number prefix is determined by you and can be alphanumeric. The project number will also be generated automatically, and its sequence will start by default at 1. The KPI Cost Comparison field will determine what value, cost, transfer, or selling amount will be used for spent money in a chart of the project module called the KPI chart. Note that this chart is explained in the glossary section of the Settings module of the Fundamentals Step-by-Step Guide. Select Cost Amount. You can select a default report for all your projects. Simply click the Project Report button, located in the top ribbon bar, and check one of the reports. It will now be displayed in the Default Project Report field. Note that this selection can be overwritten at the project level. Finally, you can also define here a specific naming convention by business unit for your projects. This doesn't apply here. Go to the section Hours. Here you will determine if you want project management approval and/or administrative approval on your hours. PM approval will require the project managers to approve hours made to their projects. Administrative approval will require specific individuals to approve entries made to their projects within their own business units or within the whole organization. Once an entry has been approved by a project manager, it can no longer be modified by anyone unless the administrative approval has been set up to Yes. In such a case, the person with administrative approval rights related to the entry will be able to modify it. Once the administrative approval has been done on an entry, the entry can no longer be modified by anyone. You can decide to have both levels activated, just one, or none at all. Select Yes for both levels of approval. Case management is related to CRM cases. By activating this option, you will be able to link your time entries to CRM service cases. Click Yes. The Hours Entry Scope field will determine if your employees can post hourly entries to all projects or only to projects where they are team members. Note that if you select all projects, the team members will still have the option in the timesheet to only display the projects where they are a team member. Select All Projects. Hourly rate adjustment is a feature that will allow you to apply a specific rate adjustment to a time entry. For example, overtime. Go ahead and click Yes. The next option will allow you to post time to project item activities. Leave this option at No. This functionality is covered in an advanced course of PSA. If you click Yes here, PSA will make the description field mandatory in the timesheet with the calendar view as well as in any time record created via the hours entity. Note that this will not apply to the timesheet by line. Select No. The next two fields, Exchange URL and Exchange Online, are related to the Outlook retrieval of your appointments into your timesheet. For more details on these fields, please refer to the installation document. Finally, the official number of working hours of your business can be entered here. PSA will use this value when generating automatic calculation line and sales forecast entries. The last setting of the Hours section will allow you to define specific exchange settings for each one of your business units. Now, navigate to Expenses. In Assistance PSA, you can group together multiple expenses under one claim for reimbursement purposes. As with projects, you can define a prefix for your claims that can also be alphanumeric. The claim number itself will be automatically generated with a sequence starting at 1 by default. You can also set a specific approval level for your claims. You can decide if you want your claim to be approved only once the expenses have been approved, or if you want administrative approval to be done while approving the claim. Select the first option. With regards to the expenses themselves, as with Hours, you can determine if you want project management approval and/or administrative approval to be activated. And the principle of modifying the entries will be the same as with Hours. Go ahead and activate both options. The Expenses section will also provide you with the option of establishing a standard selling price per mile as well as a standard cost price per mile for all your projects. PSA will take each price, multiply it by the distance entered at the project level, and post the result to the default travel expense item defined here. This calculation will be done automatically when an employee hits the mileage function in his or her timesheet. Note that you can overwrite the standard selling price per mile at the project level. You only need to define a selling price. Enter 50 cents. As for the default item, you will come back to this field once you will have created your project templates. For now, leave it blank. In the next section, you will define the naming convention of your invoices. Again, it follows the same principle as with projects. If you have connected Assistance PSA to your financial management solution, best practice is to define specific default revenue ledger accounts. And in such a case, you will need to, of course, create them first. The fastest way to do this is to click on the lookup icon and hit the New button. You will then access the Ledger screen. From here, simply enter a code and a description. This revenue account will be used for all items that are not checked as expenses. Once you are done, click Save and New, as you will also want to create the default revenue ledger account for your expenses. Back in the Lookup screen, select the first account and hit OK. Now, in the Default Expenses Ledger field, go ahead and select the other account. For more details on the integration of PSA and your financial management solution, please refer to the installation document. Located at the right, the Use Account Tax Groups field will allow you to assign specific tax groups to your accounts. These groups will overwrite the tax group selected at the project item level. Note that you will need to modify your account's layout in order to display the tax field and set the default tax group for the account. You will not use this functionality. Leave the box unchecked. As with projects, you can define a default invoice report for all your invoices. Simply click the Invoice Report button located in the top ribbon bar and select a report. It will then be displayed in the default Invoice Report field. Again, the selection can be overwritten at the project level. Finally, as with projects, you can also define specific naming convention for your invoices by business unit, as well as specific ledger accounts for each one of them. This doesn't apply to your organization. Leave both boxes blank. The next two parameters will complete the settings record of your organization. Alerts will allow you to define up to 2 alerts based on percentage of spent hours at the project item activity level. Note that these alerts will also roll up to the project item. enter 75 for the yellow alert threshold and 90 for the red one. Finally, Forecast will give you the possibility to define your forecast entry periods either monthly or weekly. Select Monthly. It will also allow you to enter your forecast at the project item level. Check the box. The License section will define your access to Assistance PSA. This is where you will find, among other things, the number of limited licenses and full licenses of your organization. For more details on this section, including the setup of your license key, please refer to the installation document. You have now completed the PSA settings of your organization. Save and close the window. Your next step is to go in Assistance PSA and execute the corresponding exercise of the step-by-step guide, The Fundamentals.